Greetings, and welcome back to our Standing Watch program. We here in Southern California have just gone through a terrible time of a firestorm which has devastated large parts of the state. And while we are breathing a sigh of relief, we just heard that Santa Ana winds are prognosticated to return this weekend. And so we pray that we don't see another second round of these terrible disasters to strike. At the same time, I was absolutely dumbfounded, amazed, and appalled to hear how parents were interviewed on television just right after that current disaster, saying that they are looking forward to Halloween celebrations so that they can give their children a well-deserved break from these terrible things which they had just gone through. You see, Halloween celebrations are something which are very common in this country. They are looked upon as part of a national holiday. But when I came to the United States of America about 30 or so years ago, and I originally came from Germany, I'd never heard of Halloween. See, Halloween was totally unknown in continental Europe. And when I was exposed to this terrible festival, I could immediately see how demonic and how satanic it really was. I have never celebrated Halloween, and I never will. I told a person who asked me whether I was ready for Halloween that I don't keep it because it's demonic. And that person looked at me and she said, well, you know, looking at it, I think you're right. But of course, this recognition didn't necessarily mean that the person didn't celebrate Halloween. And if you look into the history and into the meaning of Halloween, there is really no denying the fact that this is a demonic festival. It is so blatantly demonic as anything you can think of. It is a festival in honor of Satan, the devil. If you think in terms of what is actually being celebrated that night, the whole idea is that ghosts of departed ones or evil spirits come back to haunt the living. And in order to prevent that haunting, the living have to give them offerings or some kind of an appeasement. And that's where the thought of trick or treat comes from. And people then would dress up. And the pagans have done that for centuries and decades and millennia almost. They would dress up as witches and as demons and as devils. And they would have those masks. And the idea was to therefore and thereby scare those demons away. Of course, what a ridiculous thought. Do you really feel that if you wear the mask of a devil, that thereby you scare a devil away? If anything, you ask him and invite him into your life. And so parents who are asking the children to participate in Halloween and to allowing it, not only do themselves and their children a great disservice, they do this country a great disservice, because there should be no denying the fact that God has withdrawn his protection from large parts of Southern California during those firestorms. You cannot honestly say that God blessed the United States of America, and in this particular case, Southern California, by bringing that firestorm. And so you should clearly see the connection. And when people tell you that it doesn't make any difference and that it's harmless fun, you have to just ask yourself the question, what is harmless about honoring Satan? What is harmless about honoring and celebrating demons? What is actually Christian about it? Do we do anything on the day of Halloween, that night of Halloween, that dark night, to honor God? Of course not. And many Christian authors and commentators have seen the fact that Halloween is demonic and satanic to the core. And of course, then you have to ask yourself the question, who do you believe? Do you believe those Sunday preachers who tell you there's nothing wrong with it? Do you believe those TV commentators who say that you are unpatriotic if you don't keep the national holiday of Halloween? I want to tell these TV commentators something. They will have to give account for these ridiculous statements they are making. Perhaps not now, but when they stand in front of the judgment seat of Jesus Christ and God the Father. Because, you know, God is not going to be very well amused by people celebrating a feast which is dedicated and which originated with Satan the devil. Oh, it's harmless, you say. You can just dress up as a prince or as a princess. You don't have to dress up as a demon or a devil or a witch or a sorcerer. Well, sure, sin sometimes can be passing, and it can be a passing pleasure, but Moses, we read, didn't want to have anything to do with the passing pleasure of sin. Satan transforms himself into an angel of light, and yes, he would sometimes bring into his festival some things which sound harmless, which look nice, which look pretty, but the whole festival is dedicated to him. Why would a true Christian have anything to do with it? You gotta ask yourself that question. Are you a true Christian? Are you a professing Christian? Are you somebody who wants to worship God and Jesus Christ? If so, what in the world do you do on Halloween? Why do you allow your children to participate in it? If you are a child, if you are a teenager, you have a mind. Don't put your minds to rest. Think. Tell your teacher, I'm not going to participate in drawing Halloween pictures. I'm not going to participate in Halloween celebrations. Because it is so clearly wrong. It is so clearly demonical. It is so clearly satanic. And there are many who have pointed that out. I recently found an article on a website entitled Exposing Satanism. Let me read to you, my friends, what this author had to say. It is Satan's objective to get all to worship him. God tells us to have nothing to do with this. If you are a professing Christian, you have no reason to be part of this holy day of Satan. Don't use the old cop-out, well, everybody does it. No, everybody is not doing it. God will hold you responsible for what you do this Halloween. Will you go ahead and participate in it? Or will you pass along the word and let someone know what the real meaning is? I couldn't have said it any better. Today, Halloween is big business, even in Germany and other countries where it was virtually unknown before. It's big business. People make a lot of money from it. It is not something which is pleasing to God. God in the old camp of Israel would turn his back on them if he saw anything unclean in their camp. God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. You cannot expect God to bless you, to bless this country, if we participate in worshiping Satan in such a blatant and obvious way. You have heard the truth. What are you going to do about it? This is Norbert Link for the Standing Watch program.